Welcome to the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. Today I have a very, very special guest in my kitchen. I've known this guy for I don't know how many years. We'll get to that later. But welcome to the podcast, Mr. Karl, Earth Crisis.
Thanks for having me on, bro.
Thanks for being here. I don't even know when I met you. I don't know what year that could have been or what tour I could have been on. Maybe some show when I came there or something. I don't know. Early 90s or?
Yeah, I think it was early 90s.
Yeah.
Like you were still roading for Sick of It All.
Oh, shoot, yeah. So that must have been even 90, 91. We had some crazy shows up there as a roadie going there with Sick of It All. I remember some crazy shows that Lost Her Eyes and all that stuff.
And I remember you did a song, and I think you got a nosebleed.
Yeah. Yeah, we had the song My Love Is Real, and I would just scream it really loud, and then I didn't know how to sing, so blood would come out of my nose. And
You suffered for your art.
Yeah, as we all do. So before we get into who you are now and everything you accomplished in your life and all the music you made and inspiration you've done, I'd like to take it back to growing up. How was it for you growing up in Syracuse, correct?
Yeah.
How was that growing up? Did you come from a religious household? Were you good in school? Did you how were you what were you like as a kid before the music?
I think I was very fortunate. I had good friends, and back then in the early mid 70s, you could still go outside and play stickball or kick around on your little skateboard or have fun without feeling like you were in constant danger or something. So
True.
That was great. I think I had a great youth. I had a great childhood. My parents gave me a lot of freedom, and they introduced me to different styles of music and sports. And
Yeah.
I was definitely lucky in that respect. And I think I was also lucky to find things that were a good fit.
Yeah.
Like skateboarding early on. And my cousin was a little bit older than me, and he basically got me into all the different styles of music.
All the music. Did you play sports in school too?
I didn't really get to that point. It's like we would play football in a vacant lot. We'd play street hockey and a little bit of soccer. But I, got into skateboarding by age 13, and that pretty much took over everything for me.
What did the music come with the skateboarding? Because I was punk rock was kind of the soundtrack to skateboarding back then.
Yeah, it was in the background to it.
Yeah.
And to me at the time, it was more like, the music was more like what I would get out of The Simpsons or South Park now.
Okay.
The stuff that was funny was what I was gravitating to.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it was what, some of the wacky kind of punk stuff?
Well, I don't know, Angry Samoans or Black Flag.
There's cock.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, the stuff that had a sense of humor to it.
Never mind the bullocks, all that shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, some of that punk was crazy, man. But you could skate to it as aggressive and
yeah.
Would you a street skater or a ramp skater?
We started out on street, and when that first Bones Brigade movie came out, we were like, okay, we need to start building ramps. And that's where, fortunately, my dad had a really strong work ethic. He believed in the city. His company was big time focused on urban renewal.
Okay.
So they would buy old houses or old schools and, rebuild them. So I was on job sites when I was 13.
Damn.
With adult construction workers, felons that, were helping unload rocks out of the back of a dump truck.
Wow.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. So working after school and stuff.
Yeah. And through the summers.
Okay.
So it's I got some basic masonry and carpentry skills. So I was we could definitely build a ramp. We'll get a chalk line and we'll, bury the cinder blocks and build a foundation. Let's do it right. So it doesn't, so it can actually handle the weather, because Syracuse is not, people think that it's are you near Manhattan or Brooklyn? We're 6 hours north.
Yeah.
And we're pretty close to the foothills of the Adirondack Mountains. So our winters are severe, and there's, a lot of rain throughout the year too.
Yeah.
But anyways, we built, we started out building, quarter pipes and ditch ramps, and then eventually built a pretty close to vert ramp in my backyard.
Sick.
Yeah. And it went from the fence, literally to the windowsill of my bedroom.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, skateboarding. I feel like skateboarding, and the punk rock went hand in hand. How old were you then when you first started skating again? Were you 14, you said?
Like 13, 14. Like my first board was Tony Hawk. I got it from Skates on 8.
Sick.
Yeah. And it was amazing because before that I only had like, toy store boards.
Yeah.
So I got that and I was like, whoa, these indie trucks and these,
Official.
And these, what were they? Probably Rat Bones wheels. They were amazing. It felt like having a Cadillac or something. It was so smooth,
I was more tracker trucks. Remember tracker trucks?
I had those too.
Yeah, that was my shit. But they were a little more heavier.
Yeah.
Did you have like a certain trick? Were you like a good skater? Could you do like tricks?
Yeah. Well, I did a lot of lip tricks because we skated with a guy named Russ, and his parents were in the Air Force, and they'd come up from Texas. So he got us into like Zorlak.
Yeah.
And he was playing us all the bands from down there. And
Big Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was blasting out of the boombox on the rollout deck for sure.
The skate rock tapes and all that stuff, man.
Amazing. Yeah. So, yeah, we were doing like Texas plants and sweepers and creepers and layback errors, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I love them, man. I was more like a ramp skater for sure, too, but then street took over later. All right, so you're in school, you're skating, and are you getting exposed to punk rock around the same time, obviously, like when you're in high school?
Yeah, and like I said, it was kind of like in the background.
Yeah. What was your main music you loved? And before that, we listened to radio shit, or just like a normal music guy, or what stuff your parents were playing?
Yeah, I liked, what I liked more than anything was, and this sounds weird because it is weird, it was movie soundtracks.
Okay.
Yeah, like I would get like, the Superman orchestral soundtrack on vinyl.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and I got Stanley Jordan, like a jazz album. My dad was playing me like Queen and Sabbath and stuff like that. So all kinds of stuff.
Were your parents like strict?
They really weren't. They really weren't. And like they both, we definitely had like a for real solid middle class household.
Yeah.
Because both my parents worked 2 jobs.
Gotcha.
So we had kind of a lot of freedom just because they were so involved with other things.
Yeah. And your brothers and sisters too?
I have cousins, but
yeah,
one sister.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And was she into any of the music or stuff you were into? You guys separate kind of?
No, she wasn't really. I think she thought the ramp skating was cool.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I don't think she really cared for it too much.
So what was your did you graduate from school?
Yeah. I didn't. I can't say, I can't say that I was a natural athlete or I was a good student. I really wasn't. I really had to fight for all that stuff.
Okay.
But I definitely loved going to the library and reading, and I loved music and art and history. I thought was fascinating. Like I sat in the front row on purpose because I wanted to be able to talk to the teacher and ask questions.
It's awesome, man.
And at church, other kids would want to go outside and like, run around or whatever. Or escape.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want to hear what these old guys have to say, like at a coffee hour. I was like, so what's this tattoo on your arm? Oh, that was my ship. I was in World War II. We were in the Pacific. Or I was in Korea, or whatever. And I wanted to hear those stories. I thought that stuff was fascinating.
You're a very interested kid. Yeah, that's awesome, man. You focused and listened.
Yeah. And this kind of connects to that. Like my parents got like National Geographic magazine, and it would have maps in it.
Okay.
And I would take all the maps out and I would pin them up on the wall going up the staircase. And I'd sit on a stair and I'd try and like memorize all the countries in Africa. I'd move up a little bit. I'd try and memorize all the countries in Europe. Like I wanted to explore,
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Holy shit, I feel so dumb already. So what was your major? Like, what did you want to do when you graduated?
Well, my mom and my aunt are teachers, and my sister became a teacher, and I wanted to teach history.
Yeah.
I thought that would be cool. And I could continue to, skate on some level, and I started playing bass, and
okay.
I was pretty interested in music, but as I got older, I got more and more intense with it.
Yeah. So you played bass in high school?
Yup, yeah. Earth Crisis started when I started writing music and lyrics when I was 17, and we were on stage by the time I was 18.
All right, so let's rewind then. So obviously you got into veganism somewhere in the mix there, right? In high school then, right?
Yeah, my grandmother lived to be 97, and she was vegetarian for half her life, the last half of her life. And my grandfather had worked for, I guess you could just say a slaughterhouse or whatever, in Chicago. And she went down there one day and saw what was going on and was so freaked out she never ate meat again.
Holy shit.
So she was telling me about that. And I wasn't, it wasn't really making sense until like a few months later. Because I was like, oh, how come you don't eat this or you don't eat that? And she was direct with me.
Yeah.
So then I started reading stuff, and right around, the time I was probably 16 or 17, I'm pretty sure that's when like Youth of Today had No More.
Yeah.
So that like definitely put a lot of weight on the scales.
Yeah.
And like once I discovered, I thought Minor Threat was awesome, but like once I discovered Youth of Today and like the Boston bands, like I definitely had a strong connection to that.
Okay.
Like I felt like I want to be a part of this.
Yeah. So had you tried anything before you found those bands? Like, did you try drinking and smoking as a younger kid before that, or?
I did not. Like when there was a guy that lived maybe 4 houses south of us.
Yeah.
And he would walk to work.
Okay.
And I don't know how it came up in conversation, but one day I asked, why he walked to work. And I guess he had gotten in like a head-on collision. He had been drinking.
Damn, DIY.
And like
DIY,
some people in the other car had died. So he lost his license. Yeah. And I heard about that. I was like, whoa, that's crazy,
Yeah.
And also just being of the mindset like, hey, man, if something can hurt me, I don't want anything to do with it. Mm-hmm. So that freaked me out.
Yeah. Were people doing it around you and stuff in school or like friends or?
There was no hardcore scene back then.
I'm saying like kids at school, like drinking or partying around you.
Oh, yeah. And what I was going to say, I'm trying to segue into this idea that like, the punk, there was a punk scene. And those guys are cool. They were definitely doing their own thing.
Yeah.
But, there was also, they were coming from abusive backgrounds and dealing with, mental issues or chemical imbalances or whatever. So, the term now would be they were self-medicating,
Yes.
But back then people would look at them, oh, they're stupid junkies, they're failures, But I was like, no, they're not. These guys are awesome, I like their bands or I like their art or they have great personalities or interesting viewpoints. But some of those guys, like when I was like, okay, I'm straight edge, they got a little frosty to me.
Frosty, yeah.
Some of them were a little older, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were like, you can't be serious. What are you doing wearing that that uniform choice? I remember that one with the skinhead on the back with the X's. I was
Great.
like, yeah, I wore that every day. You know what I mean? That was like my uniform.
Yeah.
And they would, take little shots. And I was like, well, actually, these bands actually mean a lot to me. Mm-hmm. And I agree with what they have to say.
Yes.
And they'll be like, oh, well, I knew other guys that were into that. You'll get out of it. I was like, I don't think so, man. I feel like, this has always been my view. And this fits with what I am.
Yeah. And so from that on, you're like...
Yeah, and it just started, it's like kind of like a fault line started opening up between me and some people that I skated with and some people that I would go to shows with. Like, they were kind of freaked out that I was like... very forward with being straight edge and having those beliefs. And yeah, that was pretty much the beginning.
This was in high school too, right?
Yeah, the end of high school, yeah.
So there's probably no other kids probably saying they were straight edge in high school at that time, no?
No, I was the only one, yeah.
It's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Black sheep for real.
Yeah.
So
you could say that.
So when you were going to graduate, like what did you want to do? Like what were your goals? You said history teacher, right?
Yeah. Yeah, by the end of high school, it was like getting kind of dangerous, and there was like conflicts between different people and groups at the school.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of disconnecting from it, and I was listening to my parents. They're like, "Well, you'll like college a lot more because you can choose what you want to study," and I did. Like I was getting like my grades were not that great at the end of high school, but by my first year of college, I was like on the dean's list.
Wow, man! What college was that?
Well, it was community college.
Okay,
wasn't Harvard.
Yeah, but it's still college, though. It's still like, you know what I mean? Like, that's awesome because there's a lot of people that come from our scene and punk rock and hardcore. They're like, they do come from fucked up homes, and it seems like you have a loving family, like my mom was loving raising 3 boys after my dad died. You have a loving, awesome family who were like supportive of you, what you were doing, which is awesome.
Oh, I mean, could you imagine like letting your kids like build a giant ramp in the backyard and there's 15 kids back there and music's blasting and people are coming in and out of the house, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but they knew where you were too. They knew you were skating, you're doing good shit too.
That's true. That's a good point.
Keep an eye on you.
But I mean, it was noisy and it was chaotic and
Yeah.
not everyone was respectful and cool or helpful, you know, so they really were being good sports about a lot of stuff. I got to give them credit, especially now as an adult, like looking back and thinking about that, like they were very supportive.
Yeah, but it kept you off the streets, and all, you know, I know what you're saying. It's really cool to like, or someone's escape. We're gonna build them a ramp. Like, it's awesome. Very supportive.
Yeah.
So when was your first show with Earth? Was Earth Crisis your first band?
No, we had kind of like garage bands before that, but they never really did that much. We're just cutting our teeth and learning to play our instruments and having fun.
Yeah.
There was no envisioned goal yet, you know, but I got I had an idea. I was like, well, let's put this band together consisting of people that are devoted to straight edge and devoted to veganism and like kind of like more of like the Boston style musically, like the harder side of it, the more aggressive side of hardcore.
Yeah.
And I was like, it'd be cool if we stirred some metal into it and we had slowed it down a little bit. It'll make us distinct. It'll make us stand out. It'll be kind of more of a unique approach. And some of the guys in the band were very freaked out by by that idea, and even more freaked out by the way I was writing lyrics.
Yeah,
and
they're intense lyrics too, especially for that age and just being that young and passionate. You know what I mean? It's powerful shit coming from somebody that young who still lives at home, still in high school, but you really absorbed it. You know what I mean? Like, connected to it.
Yeah, and. So I got the ball rolling, but that lineup fell apart. And we had some guys from a straight edge band from Utica playing with us called Upstate. And they actually like played later. I mean, I think they played with Turning Point or something. Okay. Like maybe 1990 or something like that. Okay. But anyways, that lineup caved in, and I tried to do the band with some other people, and that wasn't working. So it took a couple of years, to get like a lineup together where, everyone was in agreement. Like, oh yeah, I'm comfortable with the style, or oh, I actually like the way you're writing your lyrics. Yeah. And I was playing music with this guy who lived in a little city, maybe 45 minutes away, and I had met Scott at a skate demo. Okay. And he said, oh, you guys could practice at my house if you're looking for a spot. Because by that point, I was like, my parents have put up with so much. It's like, I'm not going to bring music into the house, like this style of music into the house after all this, Like, I don't know how I had the presence of mind to think that. Like, I should be considerate and thankful. But somehow I was. Yeah. And his mom was at work, so it wasn't really that much of a problem. Yeah. And anyways, he was upstairs listening to us jam. And the guy we were trying out on vocals didn't show up, so I did vocals, and Scott liked it, so he came downstairs, and that was like the origin of how we started. Shit. Yeah. And you named the band as well? DJ named the band. Shout out to DJ. Yep. And later on, he played in Path of Resistance with us, of course. But he was the guy that was kind of freaked out by like my lyrical approach at the time. Yeah. Yeah. It's powerful stuff because you obviously tell me now. I know you read a lot of books and you're like, when you're interested in something, you like dig into it. It wasn't just coming out of. Right. And, there was a lot of stuff that was going on during those years. Like during those 4 years, if I look back and just kind of take stock of what was going on, like, like a friend of the family that I saw as an aunt, like had her car stolen. Mm-hmm. One of my mom's friends was assaulted. My mom's students were killed in the Pan Am flight. Oh, wow. Where the terrorists blew up the plane over Lockerbie, Scotland. Mm-hmm. And my dad was, he was renovating a property and an arsonist burned it. So there was just like,
shit.
you know, and there was a lot of stuff going on at school as well.
Yeah.
Like cliquey type violence. Don't want to get too much into it.
Yeah. Did people fuck with you in school? Were you bullied at all, or you like did your own thing?
We did our own thing, and we definitely figured it out that we had to hold our ground.
Yeah.
You know, or kids would take your backpack or your bike or your coat or whatever, you know? So it's like, you know, we had kind of a street mentality pretty quick because it was an inner city school.
Yeah.
And I did grow up in the city, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yes, beautiful house, loving family, absolutely. But it was the inner city, and like there was definitely a lot of things happening around us.
Yeah.
And so that kind of, you know, those things that were going on made me think, okay, well, the world is a dangerous place. You know, like maybe it was like Leave It to Beaver at one time, but it's definitely not anymore, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I took something from Return of the Jedi, I'm lifelong Star Wars fan.
Okay.
And it was, you know, there's some point in one of those movies where one of the characters says, you know, a Jedi uses the Force only for defense. And I was like, you know what? If we never throw the first punch, we're always going to have good karma.
I like that.
And so that was like kind of our code. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Say what you want to say. You know, whatever you're doing. It's words.
Words.
But if somebody hits one of us, we got to smash the fuck out of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's not my style. You know what I mean? But there was pretty much no other way.
Especially back then, too.
Exactly.
Sure,
yeah, because there was no cameras and, you know, there was no, you know, conflict mediator that you would go to. You know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah.
And that was another thing, too. It's like we were out skating. You know, my parents were working, both of them were working 2 jobs. So when school was over, you know, we were skating all over the city, and maybe the Bank to Wall was in kind of a higher crime neighborhood. We'd go there anyways. You know what I mean?
Skate, yeah.
Got hit in the back of the head with a chunk of brick. Mm-hmm. You know, I thought I got shot. I was bleeding so bad. You know, and there was fights and stuff was happening.
Yeah.
But we just rolled with it. To us, it just seemed normal at the time.
Yeah.
You know?
That's crazy. That's like when I lived in Maryland. We used to skate out there with Rusty and all these people. All these rednecks used to call us names and try to chase us in the pickup truck. Same type shit. Like, you're the guy skating through the town. You're the weirdos in the town. And Rusty was like our protector. But like, you know what I mean? But people just fuck with you because you're standing out and stuff. And
they'd come to me, Karl, you gotta, these guys, blah blah blah. You know, and I was like, me? Why you guys running to me? I'm just as freaked out by all this as you guys are. You know what I mean?
Holy shit! So, did Earth Crisis play their first show while you were in high school? Was that your first shows?
I think it was the summer after. Yeah. We played and we covered Glue. We covered SSD.
Sick.
Yeah, that's how we closed it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, where were your metal influences coming from? Because the stuff you mentioned, like Boston, didn't have a metal edge. It was a harder edge. But the metal stuff. What kind of metal stuff was your inspiration?
Oh, I loved the first handful of Slayers and Metallicas and Testament.
Yeah.
And obviously I wasn't into, you know, any of the devil worship aspect of it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time that, you know, heaven and hell stuff is fascinating to me. It always has been.
Yeah.
And I definitely heard plenty of things about both at church. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's like I didn't feel like I was doing anything wrong by listening to Slayer or whatever. You know, it's like hell could be a possibility. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Did you were raised going to church your whole life?
Yeah.
Christian?
Yeah.
And your parents were strict on that, or?
I can't even say that they were strict.
Okay.
It's just like they were like sharing something with me. Like I never felt pressured, you know?
Yeah. And you enjoyed it.
I mean, my God, like cataclysmic stories about like the flood or Sodom and Gomorrah being destroyed. I mean, if nothing else, it's a fascinating story. Mm-hmm. And before somebody's like, oh, well, all that stuff's stupid. It's a fairy tale. It's folklore. It's something to, you know, keep the shepherds and the olive growers in line with fear, you know? Before it gets dismissed as that, do yourself this favor. Watch the remake of The Omen and tell me that that's not fascinating, because it is. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
And just like a simple code of conduct, like the 10 Commandments, you know, it's like they're set up like we wouldn't be able to drive across the city if there weren't stop signs and green lights and red lights, you know, and that's kind of what they provide for like our interpersonal interactions with each other. You know what I mean? If it's in business or family or whatever, it's like something as simple as thou shalt not steal.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes a hell of a lot of sense, you know? So, yeah. I didn't feel like I was being forced.
Yeah. What's your approach? Damn, we're covering so much good stuff already. Your approach, like, I know you said you liked Minor Threat. Obviously, they're the ones talking about it first. But what made you feel like your approach had to be more? Because they didn't talk about veganism. Yours was that you inspired by Youth of Today and these bands in Boston and stuff. But what did you feel like your approach had to be like a more harder version of straight edge? Not harder like tough, but harder like, yo, we're going to take it to, about the environment and the world and everything. What was that inspiration? Was your aunt telling you about going to the slaughterhouse, or like what inspired you to go like everything? I know your surroundings of shit happening in school and the things happening to your family around you in the streets and all that stuff. But like, what do you think it was that made you want to take it to the next level? Let's say, because Earth Crisis was the totally next level. So it was like Minor Threat, then it was like Youth of Today, Gorilla Biscuits, Judge, Side by Side, all these bands, and then it was Earth Crisis, who were like, because Judge, to me, that record's almost like people say it's the straight edge Age of Coral in a sense. You told me that. You
just remembered.
You told me
just remembered.
The best quote you told me. I told Mike Judge that. He's like, wow. Like, so Age of Coral was like the straight edge, straight edge Chromax, whatever. Judge is like Age of Coral. But then I'm saying
Judge Bring It Down is the equivalent of Chromax Age of Coral.
That's what I want to say. But the Earth Crisis was the next level. It was just harder, like the lyrics, like just everything. Like what was that? Because I know you love this other shit. Like, yo, I'm going to take it to the next level. I know you didn't think like that, but...
Yeah, well... and it's weird. I've talked about it in some of the podcasts I've done, some of the interviews I've done, only in recent years. So bear with me if you've heard this before. But here's the deal. Syracuse is on the shores of Onondaga Lake. And for decades, that was the most polluted body of water in North America.
Okay.
There was like multiple... factories that were putting like, mercury and heavy metals and all kinds of like really caustic industrial pollution into it.
Okay.
So that was contaminated. And then a little bit north of us, like I mentioned earlier, the Adirondack Mountains in like 70s, early 80s, there was the acid rain problem.
Okay.
And that was destroying the plant life in the lakes up there, which was then having like a kind of a negative chain reaction outward on the wildlife and everything else. And there was a toxic tower in Binghamton, a city south of us, that had to get shut down because it had carcinogenic stuff like within the building materials, and it was making the office workers sick.
Yeah.
There was Love Canal off to our west in Buffalo. Like a neighborhood was built over a toxic waste dump.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's like a movie something. Yeah.
There may be a movie about it or a documentary at this point. But, so it's just like all that environmental devastation was literally around us. And you'd see the smoke coming out of the different plants in the city.
Yeah.
Like Syracuse, that's another part of, I think, what was leading to the problems around us. Like a lot of the factories were shutting down and relocating overseas or in other states where they weren't going to be taxed.
Yeah.
So, there was pollution and problems, but there was also a lot of people that were suddenly out of work and found themselves poor.
Gotcha.
That had probably moved up from other places at one time when Syracuse was, kind of more of a successful industrial city. Kind of like, honestly, Syracuse has more in common with Detroit than it does with the boroughs in, Manhattan, Brooklyn. It's a lot more like that.
Okay.
Yeah, or Buffalo.
So that was a big inspiration to be like,
we're
speaking out for all this.
Yeah.
And so, do you remember when the first show you guys played, or the reaction, or because there was no internet back then, it was just word of mouth. Oh, this new band, Earth Crisis. Like how the word spread about your band, and what was the original? What was like the reaction when you guys first started playing? Because nobody was playing that kind of style of metallic hardcore at the time. I don't think.
Yeah. We got to always give credit where credit is due, and Conviction.
Okay.
Were from Pennsylvania, and they had similar ideas to us with like incorporating like metal into it.
Okay.
And Integrity as well.
Okay.
But I was writing some of those songs on bass, for guitar when I was 17. like in like 88. You know, our first show was in 89. So this was a very long time ago.
Yeah.
You know, and what's known as metalcore now is not like even what I think of when I think of it. Like when I think of metalcore, I think of like Marauder and All Out War and Stigmata and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
Ringworm.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
You know, so anyways, first rage band that made us different, and it was basically just our friends. You know, I was like, man, this is definitely gonna make the room move. You know, the room meaning like someone's basement.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, they'll love this part. You know.
Yeah. So how many shows, like, for Earth Crisis, did it ever feel, or when did it feel like, oh shit, like, not a career, because I'm pretty sure you always work jobs in between tours and stuff, right?
Yeah. I did concrete, or I'd work on construction sites, or, you know, stain houses, whatever. You know, like that.
Yeah.
Like, thanks to my dad, like raising me that way, I think I had a really strong work ethic, and I helped him build a couple bridges and
holy shit.
Yeah, you know, chimneys, all kinds of stuff.
Shit. All right, so does Firestone come out first, the 7-inch, correct, on Victory?
All Out War came out first.
Okay.
And our buddy Guav put that out.
Yeah, what up, Guav?
And
Cabal.
he's like, oh, yeah, we'll make, I could swear he said 200. He said like 2,000, I think.
Okay.
And I was like, whoa, I don't know if we can sell that many. You
So
know?
back then, even,
Yeah, I was like, I mean, maybe. You know, if we bring him to skate demos or whatever, you know, and like try and get on shows.
Yeah.
Which was not that easy back then.
No.
You know, it wasn't like it is now.
Yeah.
You had to like kind of finagle and finesse your way
For sure.
onto things.
Jump on people's gear, get some favors. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that came out. He put it out. Guav did?
Guav put it out. Yeah. I was a janitor and I saved all my money.
Holy shit.
And I paid for that recording myself.
Wow.
Yeah. And I pulled up to a building in the office building. I was cleaning, had like condos over it. And I was sitting in my truck. I had a little pickup truck, and I was like blasting it, the songs that we just recorded at night. And I wasn't paying attention. And this guy opens the window. He goes, turn that down. I was like, fuck you, man. I don't know why. I was just stoked. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so I turn it down. I like go into the building. I go to get in the elevator and the doors open. This guy comes out with a fucking iron bar, like the kind you would like put like logs into a fire with.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and he's like charged at me. He's like, I got a newborn baby up there and I'm going to kill you. I was like, whoa, dude, chill out.
You by yourself listening to your record.
Yeah, because I was just so
dude, that's amazing.
But dude, the God's truth is I probably let it spin like 3 times in the middle of the night.
Holy shit.
That dude was well within his rights to be mad. You know what I mean?
Wow. How old are you then at that point?
I was probably 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
First record came out. That's amazing.
And when we recorded that, the engineer literally had a book called How to Record.
How to record?
Yeah. We didn't get the A guy. We got the B guy. We got like a brand new guy, you know, running the soundboard for us. Yeah.
So that comes out and it sells probably more than they printed for sure, right?
Yeah, because he was doing mail order. You know?
That was the shit back then.
Yep. And he had put out a record before that of a band from Arizona, I think. I can't recall their name. But anyways, I mean, we had like a strong lineup. Like the guys from Framework like blended right in with the Earth Crisis idea that Scott and I had. His friend Ben and Bulldog.
Yeah, Bulldog, yeah.
And Mike, who played in Framework. And, you know, we were getting offers for shows and stuff, and it seemed like people were gravitating to us and kind of connecting with the music and to different degrees the message. So it was like, this is working. And it was crazy. I remember the first show we played out of town that really worked was in Buffalo.
Okay.
And I was like, holy shit, dude. Kids were singing our words that we don't even know.
You
know, they like weren't friends. They were guys we never met.
Exactly, yeah.
And I was like, this is amazing. You know what I mean?
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And so was there a moment when you felt like you're going to do this, you just want to do it as a career? Did you ever think it was going to be a career for you?
No, because I always worked.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I always worked, and I was going to school, but then it was like getting a little crazy.
Okay.
You know, like I think that's why I gravitated towards a band. It's like, God damn, I can't work enough hours to buy books and pay for school and pay for car repairs and insurance and a place to live. Fuck it. Let's just keep to let's actually tour.
Okay.
You know?
So were you going to college at that point to be a history teacher?
Yeah.
And then you quit?
I felt like I had to.
Wow.
Yeah.
How close were you to becoming a history teacher? Like how many years you put in?
Well, 2, truthfully.
Okay.
But like, I mean, even that, there was like gaps between semesters and stuff, you know? But it was just like, you know what, this is working. Let's see where it can take us.
So you went on tour with that record?
We did shows. We did shows with the plans of going on tour.
Okay.
And we played a show in Detroit at the Coffee House The Grounds, and it was Scott Vogel's band Slugfest and Chokehold.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, so first we drove. I've told this story before, but I'll give you a quick version of it.
All new listeners here.
Scott's girlfriend had a little car that she bought for like $500, and it didn't have working lights within like the dashboard, so you couldn't see how fast you were going.
Okay.
It had literally a hole rusted through the floor. It had a hole rusted in like kind of the top of the gas tank, so if you filled it up past a certain point, it would pour out the side.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and it shook like crazy if you drove over 45 miles per hour. Mm-hmm. And she's like, just so you know, like when it rains, sometimes it won't start. So something was going on. Something was leaking somewhere or shorting something out. I don't know. But anyways, we took some old license plates off the wall in her parents' garage that were just like on display.
Oh, shit.
And we wired them on. And I held a flashlight in my teeth, and we started driving with all our gear in the car.
Oh, my God, dude.
Yeah. And I think we left on a Friday. And we made it to Buffalo, and like the brakes went out or something, and we literally coasted off down an off ramp, towards a garage, and we called Dennis, who was just a friend at the time. He wasn't in the band, and we stayed overnight at his house, and we all chipped in and got the brakes fixed, and drove to Detroit. And we got there, and we played that show. And, you know, Chokehold and Despair were awesome.
Yeah.
Wait, was it? No, Slugfest, sorry.
Slugfest.
And there was a guy, his name's Chad. He was there, and he was like, oh, these guys, you know, they put out, there's a lot of energy when they play. Okay. Like he went back to Chicago and was telling people that. And he told Tony that.
Okay.
So Tony paid attention to our 7-inch, and he must have called one of us, and we sent him the demos of what was going to be the full length, and that became Firestorm.
Wow.
Yeah, so that, like, persevering and making it through. And also, on the drive back from Detroit, like, the muffler fell off, and I took all of our canvas belts, like, you know, like those Boy Scout style belts, and we connected them, and that's how we lashed the muffler back up onto the car
with the canvas Army Navy belts.
Yeah, and I fell asleep and crashed into a wall.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was stressful. We weren't used to that kind of shit. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff going haywire. It's like, and if we gotten pulled over, we would have been in trouble too.
Totally.
Yeah.
So how soon after that tour did you guys sign to Victory and that record came out? Was it pretty fast?
It was pretty quick.
Yeah.
And we went, and he sent us to Mars, where Integrity had recorded. And they did an awesome job for us. Like, way better than All Out War, obviously. You know, and I always think about that. Like, that would be fun to go back and re-record that.
That would be cool.
You know, someday.
Yeah, that was a game changer for you, I think.
Yeah, because it's so sloppy and horrible to me. And I know people like kind of the rawness to it.
Yeah.
But I would love to have them recorded properly. Maybe just do them live someday. But
that'd be cool.
Anyways, you know, we did the Firestorm 7-inch, and then I think we, and forgive me if the timeline's a little messed up. You know, if Scott was here, he could give it to you straight. He has the he has the memory of an ex-wife. He knows everything. Everything is seared into his memory.
My drummer's like that too. He's like has everything, every show, the date, all that shit, dude.
Yeah, but you know, and we did a U.S. tour, with the Champions.
Okay.
And we made it as far as Arizona, and then we had to come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had to come back?
Yeah, we were running out of dough.
You booked that shit yourself probably too back then, right?
We had some guy book it for
like
us
no
from
booking
North
agents.
Dakota.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's the thing about that too. Like, oh, we want to come play our town, and people just book the shows for you. Like I said, no internet. You have those road maps. I forgot what they were called. There was like no GPS. You just playing at people's houses and shit. It was so different, man.
Yeah, but it was incredible. You know, we went and saw like the Grand Canyon and Florida. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, and you were young, you were early 20s, right?
Yeah, so it was perfect.
So with the reaction to Firestorm when it came out, was that when you realized like, holy shit, people really love this? Like it was such a powerful record, and I feel like it was just the next level for you guys at that point.
Yeah, like we actually went to England off that 7-inch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And when that happened, I was like, you know what, this is the horse to bet on. Let's keep doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was, I know you guys weren't greeted with open arms from the scene, because it was definitely a different vibe. I'm saying like you're hardcore kids, but you have a metal edge to you, and you're singing about animal rights and straight edge and all this stuff. And it's a different level. Those other bands aren't playing anymore. So you guys are the ones with that message at that point, I think, because everybody else had years later after bands had broken up. So like you guys with the message, and so I think some people probably took it one way, some people took it other way. Some people just loved the music, maybe they didn't relate to the lyrics. But I feel like there was a bunch of, it was kind of controversial, I guess, at that moment. Without having the internet, it was kind of like, holy shit, these guys are militant, they're this and that, and you know, and the rumors. There's all kinds of rumors about the band, and you know what I mean, like
and that's what was going on at that time. You know, like hardcore was kind of in a state of transition. You know, like the Krishnacore thing was starting, and the Riot Girls were getting things going. Hardline was a thing.
Yeah.
And we didn't fit into it. So we didn't, you know, we were close, but we didn't fit in. And they had a fest in Memphis, but we're like, hey, our drummer is bi, and I know you guys aren't really, you know, I know you guys have your viewpoints, but this guy's our friend, and it didn't happen. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And nobody like said no, but like they didn't say yes, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, and he hadn't come out to his parents or anything. You know, he would. I think he lived with his boyfriend, so they didn't really know what was going on in his life, and we didn't want to out him either. Yeah. You know, so it was just kind of.
I didn't know there was a separation from those two different things.
Like, they were. Okay. So it's like, okay, you know, it's like we'll call ourselves what we are. We're vegan straight edge. Mm-hmm. You know, we'll keep it simple. Yeah. And for us, you know, it's like we absolutely were inspired by and admired and respected all the edge bands that came before us. Mm-hmm. But if memory serves correct, Makai's definition of straight edge was a law of moderation, anti-obsession. And I was like, to us it means something different. To us it's a lifetime commitment to never have anything to do with alcohol or drugs or smoking or promiscuity. It's like let's be very direct. Let's have like a clear code of conduct on this stuff. Mm-hmm. And no, they're not like laws. You know, they're not like laws that prevent us from doing things. They're just like, we don't want anything to do with it. Mm-hmm. And this is making it clear.
And then you guys add the veganism to it.
Exactly. Yeah. And there, you know, and there of course were bands that, you know, like Instead and Youth of Today that sang about vegetarianism and animal rights. But I think what made us different was the militant aspect of it. Like we were writing songs about like the Animal Liberation Front, and Earth First, and the Sea Shepherds in a very forceful way. Yeah, because there was no whale wars and there was nothing like that, you know? So I was like, this is fascinating history that needs to be documented. Mm-hmm. And being a guy who loves history, that's what we started doing. Yeah.
I think it educated a lot of people too, like the Sea Shepherds, how that became. Now everybody in the world knows what a Sea Shepherd is because of the TV show and all that stuff. But like, you guys knew about it way back then, you know?
Yeah, and there's Sea Shepherds now, who, you know, they're the point of their involvement, the beginning of their involvement with animal rights and vegetarianism and veganism was through us, and they'll credit us with that, which is really cool.
That's really amazing, man. Actually, you like probably their soundtrack to the stuff that they were doing back then with the animals, right?
Well, there's actually people that have said exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw an article that somebody showed me. There was like an internal newsletter or something that would go between all the fur ranchers.
Okay.
And when our records would come out, they would basically say, have your security heightened on your fur ranches, because they were drawing like correlation between like higher levels of animal right, direct action type stuff with the releases of our records.
Is it just kind of like when people said that I bit a bat's head off because I listened to Black Sabbath?
Yeah.
To like Earth Crisis, you know what I mean? Like we listen to these lyrics and they make me want to go out and save animals.
Yeah.
In a sense, right? And it's like, fuck it. Wow. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's very impactful too. And that's way before the internet or YouTube videos or blogs or any of that shit. It's just reading your lyric sheets, listening to the music. Or some of these kids probably didn't get to see you live yet at that point, but loving your music and then getting inspired by it.
And there was a price for that too, though. Like Scott had his house broken into.
Mm-hmm.
He came in and like a door was ajar and one of his phones had been taken apart. The police were coming to shows in Syracuse and they would walk around with cameras and take pictures of all the license plates and cars with animal rights bumper stickers on them.
Wow.
Yeah,
man.
I looked over once and, there was a guy holding up a camera. There was no flash or anything, but he was just taking pictures of me in traffic. You know what I mean?
Damn.
Yeah.
Were you scared?
I wasn't scared, but I was like, I wonder what they're going to do. Like, are they going to plant drugs on me? Like, we're clearly having like an effect.
Mm-hmm. It's like NWA singing "Fuck the Police."
Well, I'm not saying that either. You
have to say it. I'll say it. They're like saying "Fuck the Police," and people start standing up and they're realizing about police brutality and everything happened in the inner cities. They made it aware for all like people in suburbia and the whole planet to know about what's happening in their town. And you're writing about your town and all the pollution, the shit in the rivers and the waters, and being vegan. And then you inspire a different generation of kids to like be more aware of that, what they're eating and how animals are being treated. So it's like, I'm not saying I'm just saying it's music that's so powerful that this message inspires people to get up and actually do shit in their communities and do things and speak out. You had a powerful impact like that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying NWA is Earth Crisis, though. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you know what I'm saying, though? You're not going to say it because you're humble. I'm telling you that, like, it's a powerful impact you have with the music and the message back then. It made people, like, more aware.
Right. And that was our goal.
Yeah.
Like, we wanted, and another thing Ian Mackay would say was, straight edge to me is personal. It's something for me and my friends. And for us, we were very much influenced by the Boston bands like DYS and Slapshot and SSD, where they presented it as more of like a movement. We're like, yeah, that's exactly what we are. We want vegan straight edge, our version of it, to be a movement. Mm-hmm. So there's bands in different cities, and there's, people starting animal rights organizations at their high schools or colleges, and they're protesting the first store in their town.
Yeah, and there's
people doing other things.
Yeah, and there's like tables with the. So for me at the shows, it was like the tables with the PETA information, and I feel like that was inspired by all you guys to have the shows, and they're showing the videos at the shows, at hardcore shows. They would have Krishna beads sometimes, or they have like these PETA flyers and shit, and the videos are like.
Yeah.
So that was like right in the mix of hardcore too, like.
Right.
It's safe to say. It's safe to say that hardcore music is one of the first music to talk about animal rights and veganism. I mean, you have to say it, but for me personally, that's the first time I heard of any of this shit. Yeah. Personally, like singing about it. I mean, obviously, there's Meat is Murder with the Smiths,
yeah,
but it wasn't like Earth Crisis or Youth Would Say or Gorilla Biscuits,
right?
Or, you know what I mean?
Right, and those guys are saying, like, let's be kind to animals, let's be considerate of towards them, and be vegetarian.
Yeah,
but we're taking it in very much of a different direction with the support for the Animal Liberation Front and Earth First and the Sea Shepherds and organizations like that.
Yeah. It's amazing, man. I feel like...
Yeah, but that's what we're doing. We were documenting history. And you heard nothing about it on the nightly news. Like there was some plant that was connected to fur ranching. I think they like provided feed. Okay. And I think it was destroyed. Yeah, I think it was burned. I mean, like, how would that not be on the news? You know what I mean? They didn't want it on the news because they didn't want people even knowing that there were people that were objecting to fur ranching.
Yeah, going against the meat industry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did a lot of shit get blown back to you? Like, it's because of this band these kids did that. Was it shit like that coming back to you a lot, like blowback?
Well, you know what? It's like, I was like, well, let's weather the storm. Let's ride through it. You know, this needs to be said. And there was some incidents, like my car was sabotaged and I crashed. And when I was away,
like water in the engine or something else.
Well, I don't really want to get into the specifics, but somebody definitely wanted to hurt me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I never talked about it. Honestly, this might be the first time I brought some of this stuff up.
Fuck,
But
man.
I was like, you know what? Fuck you. It's like, if I die for this shit, I'll die for it. And that's when we did Breed the Killers.
Okay. Yeah.
I was like, ultra militants. That'll be the song.
Well, your parents...
I'm not going to be like frightened by this and silent or backtrack. It's like, I'll fucking push it through to the end, you know?
Mm-hmm. Were your parents worried about you?
No, I don't think. Well, they were worried about. They were just worried about my future in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh man, you're playing this type of music. You know what I mean?
Did they come see you play?
They did. They were good sports.
They'll be like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah, my dad saw people like stage diving going anywhere. I was like, it's amazing that nobody gets killed. He goes, it looks like a hockey fight. It just keeps going.
And you guys had some crazy crowds, man, too. Like, those intense shows, man.
Yeah, we definitely did.
Did you feed off that energy? Or did you I'm sure, I know you guys had to stop when this crazy shit happening, but did the insanity at your shows ever stress you out? If you feel like responsible for...
Some of the brawls in the pits were crazy. But I remember I saw Stigmata in probably like 90. And there was a huge brawl. And the singer goes, fuck it, let them fight. And I was like, you know what? It's better just to let those two people fight than for it to stop and everyone gets organized and then it turns into mob against mob. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we would play through the fights, you know. But then between songs, I would say, you know, we got to value each other. There are no enemies in here.
Yeah.
You know,
enemies are outside.
Yeah, the enemy literally is outside, and they're the people that are selling drugs to pregnant women. They're the people that are, you know, pimping young girls out. They're the people that are, you know, pouring acid in a rabbit's eye in a lab. Mm-hmm. There's no enemies here.
Yeah.
And another thing we do, too, when people objected to the whole animal rights thing, I'd be like, you know what, man? We will literally stop playing. And you can come up here and you can grab this mic and you can express your viewpoint. Mm. I did that multiple times. I was like, if you've got a different idea, if you've got a better idea, we're willing to take the time to hear it. Hardcore is an open forum.
Yeah, totally.
This is a marketplace of ideas. There's religion, there's politics, there's philosophy.
Yeah.
And nobody ever took me up on it. They always just want to throw shit and try and hit me with a beer bottle or a dead mouse or something. You know what I mean?
A dead mouse.
Oh, yeah.
I remember hearing a story about somebody running, it's like a fur coat at the show, just like meeting people's door handles of the cars. All this stuff really happened.
It did happen, yeah.
Wow,
and you know what, though? I mean, the God's truth is like, where did we come from? We came from skateboarding. So we were obnoxious ourselves.
Totally.
We get a joke's a joke. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. A prank's a prank. But at the same time, you know, I had volunteered at Syracuse Wildlife Rehab Center, and I had seen animals with my own eyes that had been stomped on and kicked and hit and set on fire and run over on purpose by people that were just sadistic. And I volunteered there and I helped. So I was feeling a lot of like very personal anger towards people that were cruel to animals.
Totally.
And that was coming out in those early records, you know? I mean, that's still with me today. Yeah. Like it doesn't go away. Like time doesn't kill it. You know?
You still feel the pain for them and still, you know.
I do, yeah.
But do you feel less, obviously you're a different I mean, not you're the same person, but like that's 25 or whatever years ago. Obviously you're still passionate about animals and stuff, but that same rage, you still feel that same rage? I do. I really do. And in some ways even more. Because I would have thought too with just, you know, the internet now and people being able to go on and look at what goes on inside a vivisectionist laboratory or a slaughterhouse or factory farm.
I figured there would be more people rejecting it. And, you know, it is cool that there's all this, like, plant-based stuff at restaurants, but it's like, that's dietary stuff. You know what I mean? Oh, well, we're MMA fighters. We want to lose weight or maintain this muscle mass. Like, that's one thing, and that's cool. But it's like, I actually want the animals to be free. I actually want them to not be tortured and killed.
Yeah.
You know, I actually want them to be rescued. I want these practices to be stopped. You know what I mean?
Do you think it's helping, though?
That hasn't happened enough yet.
Yeah.
You know, from my viewpoint, to make it feel like I've made enough of a difference. You know, and in recent years, you know, I think if you add up all the records I've done, you know, 7 inches, splits, live records, full lengths, between all the different bands, Earth Crisis, Path of Resistance, Vehement Serenade, Freya, Apocalypse Trap, I think there's like 28 records.
Damn.
Yeah. So it's almost one a year.
Oh, yeah.
Or two, you know, one every couple of years.
That's a lot, man.
You know, and so there's still enough fury to fucking drive me forward with it, you know?
Yeah, you still get inspired to write songs.
Yeah. And what we do now, too, with Earth Crisis when we do records is we'll write off of a theme.
Okay.
Which is what we always did, but I think we got better at it.
Yeah.
You know, so I'll write one record just about vivisection, like let's say Salvation of Innocence. And, you know, I'll break it into 3 parts. 3 songs are about what the protesters are feeling. 3 songs are the viewpoint of the vivisectionist, and 3 songs are what the animals are experiencing.
Yeah.
You know, so try and, you know, approach it from like a creative point, but to drive a reality-based message forward.
Yeah. It's amazing you guys are still, no, it's not amazing because I'm still straight edge too, but like still vegan, still straight edge your whole entire life, into your adult life, into everyday normal life. And it's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You guys are still the same guys.
We are, and we're very fortunate, you know, to have discovered things that, you know, are going to be with us our whole lives, like skateboarding and music and the friendships that we have
through this.
Yeah. And, you know, it's basically been the same guys the whole way through since like 1992, because before Bulldog's little brother joined the band, he played in a group called Bone Jack that were vegan straight edge.
Okay.
More melodic style. He was the lead guitar player, but he would come with us.
It's awesome.
You know, hey, we're probably going to have to fight these guys. We need you. You know, or, you know, and he would come with us.
Yeah.
So he was there the entire time.
So you guys always had to be on your toes, like anywhere you went, or anything could happen in your shows. You know what's going to happen because you know who's a fan and who's like a hater, or just wants to start shit for no reason, and just, you know what I mean, poke fun or all that stuff.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, jokes are jokes, pranks are pranks,
words are words.
You know, we came from skateboarding. We have an obnoxious sense of humor too, but like some stuff felt like it was a setup for people to start a fight with us. Totally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, I don't necessarily think we overreacted either, because there were times where like, you know, this is starting to get out of control. We'll stop and we'll come back with 10 people and we'll play here in another month. Mm-hmm. And we would. Yeah. Any place that we did have problems, we would continuously go back to purposely.
I love that. Or the place where they canceled your shows or you couldn't go or stuff like that.
Yeah, or, you know, people were causing problems while we were playing to try and gain some notoriety for their bands. You know, we'd come back with everybody's big brother and little brother and best friend. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that,
and
man.
some of them were girls.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
You know, if we can fucking survive inner city Syracuse, we're not that worried about you, bro.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you feel like, I know obviously you're very humble, but you feel like, are you proud of everything you accomplished, like your impact and everything that you've done with your life? It's hard to say that because you're in it.
Yeah. I mean, all I can say is I'm thankful for, you know, all the bands that inspired us, all the wonderful people that help us along the way. Yeah. The friends that we've had, because that's what is hardcore about at the end of the day. You know, it's not about girls, it's not about money, it's not about fame, it's about the friendships. Yeah. And it's about the adventures and experiences and the memories that it creates. Yeah, man. You know, nobody's going to get rich doing this. Half the time, this is more of a punishment than a reward when you really think about it. You know what I mean?
Touring
oh, great, I got
an
FBI file now, probably. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's fucking crazy, man. That's crazy, man.
Oh, great. Now I'm seen as an animal rights terrorist by federal law enforcement, you know?
Fuck. And that's on your record probably if you have, who knows?
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If we're going to be real about it, you know?
Yeah. So you always said that's always been on you too, your whole life too. It's fucking wild, man.
Yeah, because I'm about to be 50, soon to be 50.
Me too.
And this band's been playing since we were 18. Different versions.
Yeah.
Different lineups. And there was a time when EC essentially went on a hiatus. We could say we broke up, but not really, because we all played together in Path of Resistance and did shows and recorded.
Yeah.
So you could basically say there's like an unbroken chain through the decades from 1989 to now, where the five of us have played in straight edge bands together, vegan straight edge bands together.
It's amazing you guys can still sing those lyrics and still be living those lyrics. A lot of bands can't say that they've been around that long and still have those convictions in their passion. It's awesome, man. It's like it just shows you like it's the real deal,
Yeah, and it's all thanks to the people that support and appreciate our band.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It really is. People took us in on Easter and brought us into their families' houses to have dinner with them on tour, or Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Like our fans are definitely truly supportive of us.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing, man.
That's how we got signed to Candlelight. A girl just liked the band.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. They weren't like looking at our sales figures and being like, oh, yeah, these guys are going to crush it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was like the biggest moment for Earth? Not the biggest, like when you guys were like when you're like, holy shit, like what this is like which, was it an album? Was it a tour? Like where you're doing a U.S. tour and it's like amazing. Was it never amazing? Was it always some sort of like chance there's going to be something popping off? Were you ever like just comfortable touring, or every time you went there like you're going to war almost, like a show?
Yeah, you got to view it like that.
Yeah.
And it's, what too is a cool thing that I feel like I got from skating was like if you play basketball or you play baseball, you pretty much can master it. Like the mechanics of it.
Yeah.
Like skateboarding is about constant evolution.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't like stop at a certain point. Now you did a shove it, now you do a 360 shove it.
Yeah.
Well, now you fakie into it. You know what I mean?
And pushing yourself.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So you're pushing yourself and you're evolving. And that's the way I view music too.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole like, and we've always written from themes.
Yeah.
Like Destroy the Machines is about, earth and animal liberation. Or Good Morning Seasons has a lot of human rights, freedom struggle things lyrically going on. So I think that made us different too.
Mm-hmm.
Like writing theme albums essentially.
Yeah.
But as far as like feeling like, oh yeah, we got to a point where, this is the best version of this band. I still don't think we're there.
Okay.
But I will say, for my taste, I do think that, Salvation of Innocence and To the Death and Neutralize the Threat, like I feel like I'll be satisfied with those records forever.
Okay.
Like I feel like we had great artwork. Like the artist did a killer job, the engineers did a killer job. I think the musicianship was what we were hoping for.
Yeah.
So I'll be proud of those for sure.
So one of those records would be like the one record you think represents the band the best.
Yeah, but probably those three for my taste.
Yeah.
But I think for your average Earth Crisis fan, they probably like the earlier stuff because they grew up with it. So
yeah.
It has kind of a nostalgic. There's kind of a nostalgic aspect to it.
Do you listen to new bands or like hardcore music?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Finding new music.
Definitely. Let's see.
You gave me some bands recently. I forgot what it was. You said we listed some bands too. I remember.
Yeah. Look, Clear Cut is awesome.
Okay.
They're a vegan straight edge band. Scott's band, Sect.
Okay. Oh,
They're strong.
Yeah.
Old Dog's doing new music. Who else have we played with? Mindset.
Okay.
Edge Control. Yeah.
Is there some other types of music that people listening would not expect Karl Earth Crisis to listen to, like a different genre?
My first show was a hip-hop show when I was 13.
Sick. What was it?
It was Grandmaster Flash.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Mom, you heard that? Grandmaster Flash? You serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They played.
Moon loves them.
They played at Drumlin's golf course.
Okay.
I told my parents, "Oh, there's a concert at the golf course." So they didn't know what it was, you know.
Yeah.
My mom dropped me and my buddy JT off, and it was pretty weird because it wasn't like a ton of people there, but it was awesome.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So then you got into hip hop too?
We did. We liked all definitely loved all the early stuff, like Run DMC and Public Enemy, and
Yeah.
Third Base or Beastie Boys.
Fuck, did you follow it in the 90s too, like Wu-Tang and Tribe Called Quest, Gangstar, shit like that? Or
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Bulldog would always bring that stuff back for us to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dennis too.
It's all, yeah. So some people think when you're in a hardcore band, you only listen to hardcore music, like, and sometimes when you're playing it and living it, you want to listen to some other types of inspirations. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I like crazy shit too, like, like Bootsy Collins or Parliament or
It's awesome.
the Isley Brothers,
And country.
Classic country.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like Johnny Cash and Hank Williams, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Patsy Cline.
Patsy Cline.
Yeah, dude, this interview takes a lot of weird turns, doesn't it?
I love it. That's what I like about it. Just having a conversation. We covered a lot of shit on there. Do you have any regrets?
You know what? It's like this. A pencil has an eraser, And when you're working on something or you're drawing something, this line isn't right.
Yeah.
So it's like the mistakes are a part of the process. They're a part of bringing things into focus.
I like that.
And they're a way to learn. They're a way to learn to be better.
Yeah.
So you can't regret them. They're just part of the process of learning,
Mm-hmm.
Are there times when I lost my temper and I was rude to people? Absolutely, I regret that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Are there times when I wish I was a little more lenient with some people? For sure.
Yeah.
Are there times when I wish maybe I, should have been a little more forceful with people who kind of had it coming and I let them slide a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes that bothers me. It doesn't keep me awake at night. I was like, you know what? Maybe I should have fucking knocked that guy out.
Should have given him a pass. Yeah.
I should not have given him a pass.
You should not give him a pass.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like we also have to be honest. Why were we attracted to hardcore? Punk wasn't angry and crazy enough.
Yeah.
That wasn't angry and crazy enough. Let's go to hardcore because, there is a lot of anger inside of us for all kinds of different reasons. And for some people, it's personal. It's like they were abused, or they had to live through like horrific ordeals in their youth.
Mm-hmm.
Or there is mental illness, or there is chemical imbalance. And I wish somebody had said that to me when I was younger. It's like we have to value each other. And we have to be realistic when we look at each other.
Mm-hmm.
And acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Like we're all here because we are fucked up.
I agree, man. That's why I never like the fighting inside the shows. I'm like,
right, in all kinds of different ways,
Mm-hmm.
But then that should also carry out into the outside world. Why is this guy mad? He might be mad because he's poor and I have this and it's better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like anger is a very useful thing if you can turn it into energy and use it as a propellant.
It's true. Yeah.
But like you treating other people like punching bags, that's just bad karma. It's a formula. It's a formula for bad karma.
I agree.
And it's the same thing with the words that we say,
Mm-hmm.
It's like you got to kind of put a delay on things.
Yeah.
You can't quick send out a text. You can't quick send out a post or an email. You got to you got to sit with things.
A lot of people do that now.
And you got to let the fire burn down a little and let the smoke clear before you say things that you can't take back, before you do things that you can't turn back.
It's true.
It's
Yeah. So
it's
true.
important,
Yeah.
Especially for guys like us that gravitated to music this enraged,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like the punk thing was like anarchy, fuck your parents, it's cool to skate to. And then hardcore was like, it's not fuck that. Let's fix that. And that's why I feel like hardcore, I connected to it. It was like, let's make a change. Let's make a difference in the world. Let's not just like say fuck everything and just not do anything about it,
Yeah. Let's look at all the possible solutions. Let's look at all the different religions and philosophies and styles of governing things politically. Let's look through all of it.
Yeah.
And let's take the good and discard the bad.
Yeah.
And one thing too with hardcore, it's like if we have the compete, conquer, exploit mentality, we're not doing it right. You know what I mean? We're not in competition with each other. We are a team.
100%.
We need to be a sisterhood and a brotherhood and help each other.
Yes. 100%. I totally agree on that.
Yeah.
Do you have any daily rituals you do, like a daily thing?
No, I can't say I do.
Every day's different.
Well, I'd have to think about that.
Yeah. Are you a coffee guy?
Well, I am. I know I'm not supposed to. It's definitely bad for your heart. You know what I mean?
But
then again, it's like...
you don't do anything else.
Yeah. And I put all this, the vanilla soy creamer in it, which is probably hellacious for you, Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I did coffee for the whole month of December, and I quit. I haven't had it since January 3rd. It made me so fucking hyper and like jittery, and had to shit it was just so bad for me because that was like first real drug I've ever done. If it is a drug, caffeine, whatever, it's fucking Coca-Cola or whatever. But it fucked me up. I can't do it no more, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. It's not made for me, man.
Yeah, you're probably better off without it.
And one thing I loved about Earth Crisis too was that whole Earth Crisis Madball connection, which I thought was amazing because it's just like New York Street and then Earth Crisis and like that tour you guys did, and you guys have been brothers ever since. Like I love that because I think that was such a good mash.
Absolutely, yeah. They're definitely one of our favorite bands to tour with.
That's awesome, man. I forgot what year that was or who was on that. Don't know if it was Downset Earth Crisis. I don't even know what it was.
It was different. It was, the joke around name for it was Guilty by Association.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And it was us
oh shit
and Madball on the only bus that we ever had in the U.S.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
You guys shared a bus?
Yeah, and we did the full U.S. and it was...
That was 90s, early 90s?
It was Scarhead.
Oh my god, dude.
And Hatebreed was on a bunch of the shows.
I think I heard about this that he's like talked about. It was crazy tour, yeah.
Yeah, and every day something went haywire.
Mm-hmm. I bet there was nobody coming out to that tour trying to throw meat on the crowd and all that shit.
You know what? I don't know if there was. Probably not.
Hell no, that's a sick fucking package. It's amazing. But I love that unity there, and I mean, Matt was like, yo, I fuck with my favorite vegans. I love these guys, like, because he'll break balls still to this day about me being vegan, whatever, like, but like there was just that they loved you guys. It was awesome, man. I never forget that.
And I remember where I was. I was at DJ and Guav's house. I was upstairs, and I saw the Madball 7-inch.
Oh shit!
And I think Freddie had his hand on a fence, and he's wearing the Redskins hat. Yeah, and I was like, dude, this guy was raised by Agnostic Front.
Yeah. It's really true, man.
He was raised by Agnostic Front.
So was a baby.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, I was like, this thing is going to be fucking wild.
So I would say that, New York hardcore is Earth Crisis because it's the state of New York, but people always think like the boroughs and all that. But you live in it's New York. For me, do you consider yourself a New York hardcore band?
You know what? I would say, truthfully, we are a Syracuse hardcore band.
Okay. Respect.
And here's why, because I have so much respect for, guys like Belvy that were in the first hardcore band from Syracuse, the Catatonics, or the 100 Down 7-inch, or Milton's Disciples. They were basically our Murphy's Law.
Okay.
Fast Furious Death. I mean, we had like good bands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you represent that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then later on, it was like Solstice and Green Rage and Gatekeeper and Framework. And some scenes are a state or a county, Orange County, Connecticut, hardcore.
Yeah.
Like Syracuse has had bands for 30 years, straight years. Black Sheep Squadron or now Trail Lies or Ghost Ship.
Oh, Trail Lies, that's right.
Yeah. And most of them have been straight edge.
It's awesome, man.
Or vegan straight edge. So it's almost like a part of our culture.
Yeah.
And that a little bit of a more, the little dose of metal stirred into things is different too.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore, but, at the
So you've been pretty much straight edge your whole life, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
It's amazing. Me too. I haven't tried anything my whole life. And
Yeah, and for the record, communion at church is taken with white grape juice.
oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, people try to question.
So I
that.
wasn't drinking.
No,
So I wasn't drinking wine.
yeah, there you go. Oh shit! I didn't even know that.
Yeah, because a lot of those old, German and Norwegian guys were probably alcoholics, so they just wanted to keep them away from it.
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, both of us same age too. I didn't realize we're the same age.
Yeah.
Well, my wife calls me 50, so because I'm almost there. But like,
Yeah, we got to get used to it.
I know. I feel good though. Do you feel young? You feel good?
Well, keeping in mind, between all these tours, I've done a lot of blue collar work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the construction and
Yeah, it's true. But you
concrete.
stay grinding.
And you are outside in the heat, and you are outside in the cold.
Mm-hmm.
It's
true. You're like a working man, dude. I respect it. I love it, man. Like you're always doing that.
Yeah.
I thought you did real estate for something too. No.
My relatives do real estate,
Okay.
and I've been their file clerk. I've helped them with things, but
You
I
never
mean,
stop working the whole career.
Yeah,
both places.
and I definitely respect them and what they do, and I can help them when I can. But yeah, I've always gravitated to that kind of work. We're outside, we're with friends. It's great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the last 3-4 hours of the day aren't great.
Winters must be fucking nuts out there,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's a region a little bit north of us called Tug Hill Plateau, and the blizzards come in off of Lake Ontario, and sometimes there's literally been 5 feet of snow. You can look it up if you think I'm fibbing, but it's true. It's like snowmobiler's paradise up there.
Do you have a snowboard?
I do, yeah.
Still?
I do. Well, I'm not good anymore. I just carve.
I love it too, man. I can't do. I like falling. I love the feeling. I love it, man.
Yeah.
I suck at it too. Moon's good at it, and Max is good. I can't. What about skating? You still skate?
I do.
Street skate?
Well, a little bit. I mean, I'm not gonna fucking try and ollie down a flight of stairs or something, Old man. I don't want to get hurt,
Did you ever do rails and shit like that? You never get to that level?
We did, but I'm not gonna lie. I bomb dropped him. I did an ollie to him.
Okay, yeah.
I bomb drop board slide him, or a bomb drop, 50-50 down him.
Yeah.
I couldn't. The guys I was skating with were definitely the best guys in the city. Like
Okay.
they could ollie fire hydrants in like 1989, 1990. They were like Matt Hensley level.
Okay.
They just had that magic.
Yeah.
That I wasn't blessed with, but that's okay too.
It's having fun, man.
Yeah, that's okay too, because I pretty much figured it out that music was going to be the thing for me.
Yeah.
By my mid-teens.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
To know that and like commit yourself to that is awesome.
Yeah, I was devoting more time to like writing lyrics and writing music than I was to the other sports.
I'm surprised you didn't turn out to be a professor, because you're really smart and like you've educated so many people through just your songs and your lyrics, and it's almost like poetry, and it's powerful. And I feel like you could educate a lot of people with like your knowledge of everything happening. Because I don't know, with everything from the history into the future, I feel like everything's happening now. I said it before the podcast started, like stuff on Age of Core record, then stuff for all your albums, everything you talked about is happening now. It's like you sitting back going, I told you, motherfuckers, this is going to happen, because the world's changing. It's crazy, man. People are so conscious of everything they're eating and the fucking environment. Just everybody's trying to be more conscious, regardless if it's like you said, like are we actually like saving animals' lives. I do feel like Impossible Burger and Beyond Burger, maybe it's not my favorite thing, because I'm more like a vegetable guy. I'm more like on my John Joseph kind of life than just eating that kind of stuff. But the fact that it's there and it's giving people options, I feel like it's definitely putting some sort of a dent. And I know for a fact that Impossible and Beyond is like the biggest threat ever the meat industry ever experienced, ever. It's insane. Because even the fast food's carrying it. Granted, we're not really going to fuck with one of those places we've never been to or even want to support since the 80s. But the fact that it's there and it's giving media the opportunity not to eat something that's a dry-ass hockey puck Boca burger. Remember those dry-ass hippie burgers we used to always have to eat? Yeah. That was like a real tasting burger that gives people, like, all right, vegans food isn't so bad. My whole thing is that. Like,
dude, I mean, that stuff is fooling my elderly relatives. You know what I mean?
It's
like
awesome.
You stir that into like sauce and noodles, and they don't even know what it is.
It's crazy, man.
It's pretty convincing at this point.
But you think it's a good thing?
It's definitely a good thing. But then again, I'm not like a health and fitness vegan. It's like I am
Yeah.
an animal rights activist.
Totally.
And I want animal liberation to be a reality.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to doubt I'll see the kinds of results I was hoping for in my lifetime. But some stuff is slowing down. Like fur is starting to slow down a little bit, in the circus, and people are paying attention to what's going on in like these marine parks.
SeaWorld, yeah.
Whales,
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's starting. But I just had hoped that, once people could go online and view this footage with their own eyes, that things would accelerate more rapidly. And it hasn't happened to the extent that I wish.
But people don't want to see that.
Yeah.
They're so selfish, and it's a convenience thing for people. When they see that, I go to this pig vigil every Sunday. We feed the pigs at the slaughterhouse, and they kill like 10,000. They become the Dodger dogs at Dodger Stadium. And I love bringing my non-vegan friends there, and we're giving them water, and they're looking into pigs' eyes. Like, I love that. I think it's super powerful, the fact they even go down and check it out. But nobody wants to do that. They just want, like you said, it's just hand it to them, they eat it. It's more of a. I feel like it's like a, not dissing all humans, but it's almost like, well, I don't want to see how it's made. I like how it tastes. Nobody wants to see the reality of it because they're like selfish and comfortable in the way they live their lives. It's frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, but you know what? That is the challenge. That is a challenge for the chefs and the people that put all this stuff together.
True.
It's like, I think they can do it. You know what I mean? If satellites can orbit the Earth and submarines can go into the Marianas Trench, I'm sure we can have a vegan steak at some point.
Yeah, for sure.
I
think that's definitely coming, though.
It can be done.
Yeah,
it can be done. And people, I think there's going to be more of a call for it.
Yeah, I think like a steak should be a luxury. It should be like $100 to $200. That should be something that like you can't have every day. It's something you have to. I don't know. It should be like a luxury. It shouldn't even exist. But if it's going to exist, it should be like some like next level. You have to be in a different tax bracket to even have a piece of that. I don't know, because it is killing so many cows and wasting so many because they're killing and they're overbreeding so many. They're left for dead, and nobody's. It's like they can't keep up with. It's crazy, man. It's fucking crazy.
No, I can tell you take it serious.
You drive by that fucking, they call it Kauschwitz. It's between here and San Francisco. I don't know if you guys drove by there.
We saw it today,
it's disgusting, man. It smells so fucking bad, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, even like the Holstein dairy cows are getting aced out up there.
Mm-hmm.
Or getting ready to get aced out.
I saw that milk company went under this past year. That was amazing. It's crazy, Tony.
That's the thing, it's like the other side of it is, being a blue collar guy and coming from that background, I have a tremendous amount of respect for farmers, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for the people that grow the food that feeds us. So, I don't want somebody to be driven out of business or punished. That's not my goal.
Yeah.
That's not my objective. My objective is for animals to not suffer, and be exploited and slaughtered for something as trivial as the taste of their flesh. It doesn't need to be happening anymore. You know what I mean?
It's so barbaric, and it's 2020. It's like there's so many alternatives.
Yeah. And it's true too. You don't want people just eating things that are made out of soy all the time.
No.
But at the same time, if we look at the Sikhs and the Hindus and certain types of Buddhists, I mean, those people have been vegetarian or vegan, or the Jains, for probably hundreds, if not thousands of years.
Yeah.
So it can be done.
Yeah.
We don't need to be living on like a pioneer diet anymore.
No, and it's crazy how like we're told like milk does the body good, and all these commercials growing up, and the 4 food groups, and just the stuff that was like shoved in our faces growing up, and it's like, it's funny all that shit's coming out. Like you don't need that shit. There's like all the alternatives to milk that people drink, and then how desperate these are. Now I see like there's so many more milk commercials now. Like it's just so desperate because everybody's fucking with almond milk and coconut milk and all this shit now. It's amazing to see the world trying to change and trying to be, even if these big companies are trying to make money off of veganism, they're still saving lives in a sense. They're saving some sort of lives by how many, I guess like one of the biggest months Burger King ever had was like 2 months ago when they launched the Impossible, was their biggest fucking quota because of that burger. It sucks that they're still slaughtering animals as well, but it just shows you that people are fucking with something that's not an animal, and people are being more open-minded to it. It's not like, it's just there. It's not really being shoved down the throat. You're at a menu, okay, there's vegan option. It's everywhere you go. You see vegan, vegan, vegan. Even if it's a trendy-ass trend, I think it's a positive trend because it's saving animals and making people more aware. You know what I'm saying? What they're eating.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, I've read stuff, and I don't have any way to verify whether it's true or not, but I have read that, there's a lot of people like under 30 that are choosing to be vegan.
Yeah, with that too.
It's not like, it's not like the ordeal that it used to be. Like it is easy enough that if you try it, it will work.
Totally.
Yeah.
And people back then couldn't even say the word vegan. Remember that? Like, they didn't know how to say the word vegan.
Yeah.
I think the first time I heard vegan was probably you guys, because I know that Youth of Tay was vegetarian. And I remember when Ray came back and he was Krishna conscious, and they were doing Wilderness Alone. He was on the vegan tip at that point. I think when he came back from India for the first time. Maybe he was doing hands. I worked at the Gorilla Biscuits recording studio in Queens, and I'd book all the bands, and he'd come in. I remember he was doing headstands and all this weird shit. I was like, holy shit. First time coming back from India and talking about veganism, and it's crazy, man.
Yeah. I mean, thank God for John Joseph and Ray Cappo and all these guys that, they've influenced how you think and live and how I think.
Yeah. It's just, I'm psyched to be sitting here with you. We're almost 50 years old, and we're both still not eating animals, and we're still straight edge, and still, but now we're like grown-ups, I guess. Or I guess we'll never be grown-ups, but we're almost 50 and we still feel this way, and it's like,
this is unfortunately awesome. As grown-up as we're probably going to get.
You went Instead shirt, went to 7 Second shirt. Like, this is a part of our lives, though. It's just like, it's what we grew up on. It's inside of us. It doesn't matter what we're doing in our lives. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm paying my mortgage or driving my kid to school, or I'm in everyday life or going to like school functions, I'm like the freak at the school, but I'm still part of this world. It's very underground and dear to me. When people think, oh, punk rock's so exploited, it's so big, and this is big. And in reality, it's really not. Like, when you try to tell somebody like, oh, I'm in a band called Earth Crisis, they're like, or you tell a stewardess on an airplane, like you're flying to Europe, like, what's your band called? I'm like, oh, you never heard of us. We sound like we're mixed between, like, I don't know, Green Day and Metallica was somewhere not so hard, not so soft, H2O, like whatever. Like, we're still in this kind of underground world, like in society.
Yeah, it is weird. They like when they'll do like an article, they'll never say the word hardcore. They always say punk or metal. They can't even like give us our own name, acknowledge like the name we choose for ourselves. It's weird.
It is crazy, man. And what would be your top 5? You have a top 5 at all as far as influences, music, bands, or anything? Or
oh yeah, I would definitely say Cro-Mag's Age of Quarrel.
Sick.
Gnostic, Front, Victim, and Pain. Sick of It All, Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Damn, going New York hardcore.
Blood,
strong.
Sweat, No Tears. Forgive me. I'd say Youth of Today, Break Down the Walls.
Fuck yeah.
And probably the DYS. I think it's been called Brotherhood and Wolfpack.
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
the same record.
That's strong, man.
Yeah.
It's a strong top 5.
For sure. And I could give you a top 5 in any genre, but in our world, that would definitely be it.
You have a top 5 hip hop?
Public Enemy would be at the top of the list. And there's definitely some weird stuff that they said. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some of the guys that are kind of like in the outer orbit of that band have said that I would strongly disagree with.
Totally. But they were kind of punk in the sense that the shit they were singing about wasn't shit people really sang about on the radio and where they were coming from. You know what I mean? Like an NWA kind of sense.
Right. And the show was a little bit silly with the girls and, you know, but love Public Enemy.
Yeah. Run DMC in there?
I like Run DMC. Which you're saying top 5 though?
Yeah, would you have a top 5 hip hop?
Top 5. I'm trying to think. Who else would be in top 5?
You said third
KRS-One.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
I'm vegetarian, no goat, no him.
And you know what? I am going to say it. I love Ice-T, but I will also say, if any of his friends ever listen to this, dude, you got to take it easy with the vegans. Not every vegan's a health nut to be made fun of. You know what I mean?
Oh, he does?
A little bit.
I didn't know that.
A little bit. You know? And I think the health nuts got on his nerves, you know?
Okay.
But
I know Ice-T. Okay.
then again, that's not the angle we've ever pushed.
No.
You know? Our angle is animals are sentient beings. You know, their lives are their own. If you ask me, they have a soul, for sure.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And whether you believe in that or not, they deserve to be respected and treated with kindness. Or simply left alone, for God's sake.
Yeah, I think people.
But anyways, I love Power. I think that record was awesome.
I see Power, yeah.
And the new Body Count's great too.
Oh shit, okay. People talk about that. I haven't really heard it yet. That's cool.
So we got what, 3?
He's down with the chord too.
He definitely is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how many? Yeah, I named 3 so far. I got 2 more to go.
You said third base, which I thought was amazing.
I like him, but I wouldn't put him in the top 5.
That's like 1 record, 2 records, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would put Grandmaster Flash, Furious 5, Melly Mel in there. Dude, The Message, that song?
Sick song.
Yeah.
And you saw them, which is fucking amazing.
I did.
Dude. Moon's jealous. The message is so good.
Yeah. And I think I was 12.
I have that LP.
Yeah, but you didn't see him live.
I think I was 12,
Okay.
but I might have been... No, I wasn't 12. I was probably 13 or 14 at the oldest.
Okay.
Because we were kids.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Grandmaster, Ice-T, Public Enemy,
KRS-One.
KRS-One. So sick.
Yeah.
One more.
Who would I put in there?
Let's think.
And there's a lot of hip-hop that's entertaining, but I don't connect with it, because it's not me.
Did you like Tribe or De La Soul or Wu-Tang or in the 90s shit? Coogee Rap, Biggie, Tupac, Nas, Jay-Z.
Like I said, I like that stuff, but I couldn't say it's top 5.
Yeah. Eric B. and Rakim?
Oh, fuck yeah. There it
There we
is.
go. Yeah, top 5.
Yeah.
Eric B. Rakim is one of the greatest, man.
Yeah.
He never really swore on records because I saw this recently in an interview that he knew his mom and dad was going to listen to it. So if you listen to those records, people, he barely swears on the records, man.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing. He's one of the best lyricists. And
Yeah, he's a rhyme smith for sure.
Did you have any inspiration for your lyrics, like poetry or writers, or you just wrote from your heart?
Well, I've always had kind of my own approach is I'll write a short story or I'll write an essay.
Okay.
And then I'll go through, and I know that sounds painful to hear, essay. Oh, that's amazing. And
Moon just came in with the Sugar Hill Records.
Shit. That's killer. And then I'll go through it with a highlighter, and I'll be like, this line's cool.
Holy shit, really?
Or I said something similar to this before, I'll put a line through it.
Damn.
But I'll go through, and
Moon's
shit.
flossing on the table with all the Sugar Hill Records.
That is amazing.
That's cool. You put lines in it, highlight and shit? Wow.
Yeah, the stuff that I like, and I'll like slice that out and put it in songs and build rhyming couplets off of it.
I think it's rappers do the same thing, kind of, I think.
Do they?
Yeah, I've seen that before.
Oh, that's cool.
Just slice it up, put it together.
Yeah.
That's cool. Because you scribble ideas down, you put it together and make it fucking work.
Yeah, but I would write it out like, or I will. I'll write it out like a short story, an essay, and like try and prove a point.
That's cool.
Or try and express a viewpoint, or whatever it is that I'm feeling. And that's the other thing too. I think people should keep in mind with hardcore. It's like something may feel like it's about you, which can be unfortunate. But what is the band or the singer trying to do? They're trying to vent out a negative emotion.
Totally.
And I think if we don't call people out by name, which I think is a very classless thing to do, it's like you can kind of release that anger from yourself through the music.
Totally. It's like therapy.
In a weird way, I guess so.
Did you ever go therapy before?
I was getting in fights in school, and I guess I had to go.
Yeah, counselor or something, or
yeah. I'm too Irish for that. I'm not telling people everything that's going on in my brain. You know what I mean?
I never did therapy either, but I think I need it. I always mention stuff. I think me and my brothers need it for sure. With shit, my dad dying at a certain age and whatever, we have issues. Definitely have dad issues, and I definitely think that me and my brothers personally should definitely do it before I die one day. Is maybe go talk to somebody. But I do it through my lyrics too. I try. It's a very therapeutic writing shit,
Yeah.
Getting it out.
Yeah, because that's a part of what this is. It's like, we can share those ideas and we can vent that anger or that depression out of ourselves.
Yeah. You feel like you got a lot of anger out with your music?
Oh, I have to have the music.
Yeah.
Literally.
Saves your life.
I said, I think I've had like 28 releases since like 89.
Damn.
If you add up all the different bands.
Yeah. And you still want to keep releasing music, right?
Dude, there's things I want to say,
I love that, man.
And I feel like I do. I feel like there are some times when I can offer some advice or, express things from a certain point of view that could be helpful for people.
Yeah.
And one thing I think about too, it's like, man, I wish somebody had said this to me when I was, feeling down or feeling frustrated when I was like 12, 13, 14, 15.
Yeah.
Had somebody laid this out, hey man, you don't need to feel personally offended by this because here's what's going on in that guy's mind.
Yeah, I love that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's something I try to do like on the new Freya record that we just recorded.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's been my approach.
I love it. And you inspired a lot of people and changed a lot of lives, whether you think so or not. And I want to thank you for your voice. You've always used your voice in that way and speaking up for the animals. And way before people even knew what the word vegan was, or people knew about animal rights or sea shepherds and all that stuff, you were in the forefront of that, man, at a really early age. And it's impacted a lot of people, man, in a positive way.
I think so, man. And we owe an eternal debt of gratitude to Conflict.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right.
The British punk band.
Yeah.
Kind of thrashy punk
Yeah,
band.
I know, yeah.
Dude, great lyrics, super focused on animal liberation and concrete socks. And obviously youth of today.
Yeah.
Because they were so direct.
Yeah. Their approach. Like that No More video was
and
crazy.
And more than anybody, John Joseph just stopped by some slaughterhouse and hear the animals cry.
Yeah.
I mean, that was probably 85 or 4 that he wrote that.
Yeah. It's true, man. It's really true, man. So I hope the animals appreciate all the people in hardcore who's been screaming for them for years.
Yeah, we're not all bastards.
Exactly. Shit, I could talk to you all night, but we have to go see Snapcase now and get this guy back to his show. So if I think of anything else, I'm going to call you on the phone, which I hate doing phoners, but we talked for an hour and a half, which is awesome. And we covered everything, things we should have covered and things we shouldn't have covered. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah, here's another one. No one should ever break up. Never break your band up.
I never broke up.
Do a hiatus.
Yeah, we did hiatus for 6 years.
Hiatus.
Yeah.
No one should ever break up.
You guys never broke up. That's right, yeah.
But we did the same thing. It's like we're playing in Path of Resistance with all the same guys. There was no need to break it up just because we moved into different states.
Yeah, that's smart.
Or,
Yeah.
And we didn't know that, hey, I could just write songs and email them to you.
Yeah.
And you can put it together in your home studio. And then we didn't think that was a possibility at the time.
Yeah.
But now, obviously it works fine.
So Christian, was Cabby your number one skater?
I mean,
all those dudes, man.
I mean, I loved him and Rob Mertz and Scott
Rob
Stanton.
Mertz.
Like I said, like the Zorlak thing was real big for us because of Russ from Texas.
Yeah.
And the Pusshead art and he's a singer of Septic Death. I mean, just everything was like connecting,
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, the first Bones Brigade movie
Life
that came
changer.
out. Yeah.
Game
I mean,
changer.
they captured such a cool, spirit of eternal youth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
And they weren't vulgar and they weren't hostile and, they weren't negative. I mean, and I'm sure those guys went through all kinds of awful stuff.
Totally.
Because that was an underground sport and I'm sure they suffered for it.
Yeah.
They
made that thing look so easy, the skateboarding and just the flying off the ramps. It was just so surreal, man.
But like I said, for me, what I got out of it, it's like, yeah, this is the fountain of youth, like music and skating,
Yeah, man. It went hand in hand.
And that's the other thing too. When I say no one's band should ever break up, dude, Lemmy from Motorhead played until the end.
He did,
and I think he was in his late 60s or early 70s when he passed away.
He did. 75.
Okay. Well, he looked,
wow.
I mean, he did not look 75.
Nah, man.
And we got to play with them and see them at a fest in Europe. And I never got to see him. We were always out of town.
Okay.
When they would play the Lost in Syracuse.
Yeah.
But I got to see them, thank God.
It was amazing?
Like maybe 3 years before he passed away.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you played to the end, man, yeah.
Yeah.
You never want to stop playing, huh?
There's no need to.
It's a good point, man.
As long as kids aren't like, well, it wasn't great. They weren't diving off the speaker stacks like they used to. I mean, it's like...
Yeah.
It's like, just come on, dude. You got to be real about it. You know what I mean? It's like we're middle-aged men. You know what I mean?
Man.
We can't have a bone break now. You know what I mean?
You ever think you'd be singing in Earth Crisis at 50?
Absolutely. I'll be 50 in a couple more months.
I know, it's just crazy thinking about that back then. It's like, holy crap. I've been to spend half my life, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, but think about it. Like John and Mackie have I think the strongest lineup for Cro-Mags have ever had.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Like the music has such a high level of precision,
Yeah.
And the same for Agnostic Front.
True. I was just on tour with them. I saw them every night. They kill it every night, man.
Yeah.
They look great.
Yeah.
Keeps you young. The shit keeps you... Stuff keeps you young.
For sure.
Well...
And the other thing, too, it's like John Joseph probably just put out the best album ever with that Blood Clot full length.
Mm.
Like, he's singing and he's trying different things vocally that he hasn't done before,
Yeah.
So it's like, who knows when, during what era or what decade or what stage, you're going to write your
Age.
Judge Bringing It Down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or your Blood, Sweat, No Tears. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or your Quickness.
It's a great record.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, bring it. If you have Judge for your top 5. Woo!
Yeah, like, think about it. Quickness, like, that was probably, like, 20 years in for Bad Brains, right?
Yeah, it was. I like that.
Maybe not 20 years.
I like I Get
but they
Signed
started
Quickness.
in the 70s, right?
Yeah, I like I Get Signed Quickness almost better than the faster records, personally. I like the groovy shit.
Exactly.
The breakdowns.
That's because you like hip-hop.
Yeah, true. It's got the rhythm and shit, you know? Stuff.
Yeah, we got to clip the swearing.
All right, Mom, I guess... Oh, Karl, thank you so much. We covered a lot, everything, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And one more thing.
Say whatever you want.
And thank you from the bottom of our hearts, from everyone in EC, to everyone that has supported and appreciated our band and followed us, you know, getting records, going to shows, all the tattoos.
So many.
You know, all the shout outs on thanks lists and, you know, people saying cool things about us in their own interviews.
Yeah.
Like, it really does mean the world.
Yeah, man. You guys had a powerful impact on people and still do it to this day. And you're a very humble human. And I'm honored to call you my friend. What are you doing here? And have you on my podcast. And I'm psyched for Max to see them tonight. Earth Christ. Never seen you guys before. I think he's really going to like it. Max likes the hard music. Doesn't give a shit about Minor Threat. Stuff about Minor Threat. But Karl, thank you for your time. We covered a lot of stuff. And I might call you on the phone because I always usually do that and get more questions. But we covered a lot of good things. This flowed really nice. And I learned a lot about you today. I have a lot more respect for you. That's what I like about the podcast. I can think I know something about somebody to have on the podcast and actually learn more things about them later on in life, you know?
Yeah.
So thank you, Karl, for everything you've done and given to this planet.
Thank you, brother.
Good talking to you, and I'll see you in a minute.
Okay.
Bye. Hey, guys. Thanks for listening. Please rate, review, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet to this podcast, please do that. And whatever platform you are listening to this on, I'm glad you found me. You can rate me and review me on there also. So thank you guys sincerely for the support. I cannot wait for you guys to hear the next one.